In this video, I'm going to teach you 7 Wes Montgomery licks that will teach you how to play jazz guitar, how to improvise better. My name's Chase Maddox. I'm a professional guitarist for 20 years. I teach over 150 people just like you inside of my program, Chase's Guitar Academy. Check the link in the description. And we're gonna do 7 of these real quick. So the roadmap is 7 of these Wes licks, and each one of them will teach you an important concept, starting with number 1. This is what the lick sounds like. All right, so this is a lick that Wes plays on his version of Satin Doll. This is over C major, and you might have noticed we're approaching each of these notes from C. So think of the C triad, C, E, G, C. Each of those notes we're going to approach by a half step from below, so a chromatic approach. So G, half step below E, half step below C, half step below G. So you can do this when you're targeting any chord tone, and that's what this first lick teaches us. Lick number 2 sounds like this. All right, so lick number 2, this is over C7. This is from Wes's solo on Naptown Blues. And the thing we learn from this is that we need to learn how to combine essential jazz patterns to create phrases. And this lick is a perfect example of that. It's used in a lot of bebop style playing. Here's the essential jazz patterns within this simple phrase. We have essential jazz pattern 15, which is this descending chromatic. And then we have a pivot arpeggio starting on this B flat, D, F, A. So it's a pivot arpeggio of B flat major 7 starting on the root. I call that essential jazz pattern number 18. And then we're going down this C mixolydian scale, starting on A, which is essential jazz pattern number 2. If you're not familiar with any of these essential jazz patterns, I did a whole course on this, 31 essential jazz patterns inside Chase's Guitar Academy. Lick number 3 comes from Wes's solo on Misty, and this idea is combining scales and arpeggios. I call this scarpegios. I had a whole video, a few videos out on it because Joe Pass uses this concept a lot as well. And Wes has a great lick based on this concept that sounds like this. Okay, so it's a fast lick, admittedly. It's a nice double time lick over Misty on A minor. Scale-wise, we're using this A melodic minor, but we transition into the arpeggio E minor 7 right here. All scale. Once we hit E, E minor 7 coming back. And a very common thing is once you have the arpeggio, you switch to a different arpeggio. Coming back, we do C major 7. So scale, arpeggio, arpeggio, scarpeggio, scale and arpeggio. Lick number 4 comes from Wes's solo on 4-on-6. This is a short 2-5 to D flat. He doesn't play the D flat, it's just the sort of bridge section of that 4-on-6, E flat minor to A flat 7. And the idea here is to play your arpeggios starting on the 3rd. So with this one, it sounds like this. Okay, it's a relatively fast idea. We have a few things in here that are really cool. So we're on E flat minor, G flat triad, sweep and slide. I talked about that in another Benson lesson. Where do you think Benson learned it? Wes. Now that G flat is the 3rd of E flat minor, but when we go to the C, that's also the 3rd of our A flat 7. So we're starting that arpeggio on the 3rd. So starting your arpeggios on the 3rd of the chord that you're playing over, and then he just ends on A flat over the A flat 7. Really good way to play through your arpeggios. You can think about it like starting on the 3rd, that's what I prefer, or it's like playing a 9th arpeggio. So either of those work. Lick number 5 is from Wes's solo on Naptown Blues. It's over a short minor 2-5. Let me just play it for you real quick. So the concept here is we don't always want to be thinking of, strictly playing over the changes, playing 2-5-1s and voice leading and all that. Sometimes you just have to play the blues, and that is the lesson for this lick. So this is that minor 2-5 that third set of 4 bars on a blues, a key of F. And so what does Wes do? He is playing notes that would work over A minor 7 flat 5, like the E flat and the C, but he's using it as part of just F minor pentatonic, and then like classic blues language. So he's playing over F blues, making use of that fact and adding in blues language. It's so crucial to make your jazz playing more than just a theory exercise. So make sure you're learning blues vocab and listening to blues vocabulary and implementing it. Lick number 6 is a long 2-5 in the key of B flat from Wes's solo on Tear It Down. If you guys are enjoying this, by the way, I have 35 of these licks inside of my Jazz Lines palette PDF for Wes Montgomery. This is going to be part of a larger study on Wes that we're going to do inside Chase's Guitar Academy. I did this before with Benson, with the George Benson Master Study. And I'm basically building out a library of information on all these great master guitarists. I know you guys will dig it, especially if you love this lesson. There's 35 total in the Jazz Lines palette, covering minor licks, dominant licks, major licks, short 2-5s, long 2-5s, short minor 2-5s, and long minor 2-5s, which is, I'm giving you one of each of them today, if you haven't noticed. All right, let's continue. So lick number 6, the idea here is to continue your idea through the changes. Now, you don't necessarily always want to do this, but you want to be able to do this. So make sure your line direction could continue through the changes when that change happens. So let's listen to this as an example of that. We're going to descend and listen how this lick continues to descend when we go from C minor to F7. So this is really important so that you're not a slave to the changes happening and changing your phrasing based on that. You want your phrasing to be very free, natural, and it is a very good idea to practice this by continuing in the same direction you're going. That way you can make those rhythmic decisions where they make sense and you're not forced to fit it when the bar changes. And then finally, we have this awesome minor 2-5 idea that Wes plays on Days of Wine and Roses, and it sounds like this. Okay, so this lick really demonstrates to me Wes taking a lot of vocab that he loves using. This first idea, he uses this kind of idea constantly in a bunch of his solos, and it's one of his pet licks, one of his pet ideas. And combining that with classic essential jazz vocab, very, very established vocabulary over minor chords, which would be this. It's outlining the changes, but it's also played, it's almost a cliche on a minor chord, but in a good way. Cliche has that negative connotation. So you want to build your own personal vocab, mix it with the classic essential vocab that has been played that you're learning, and that is how you develop your own style. I hope this has been helpful for you. If you're interested in Wes, let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this lesson as well. I'm going to do more lessons on Wes Montgomery and a bunch of other jazz masters, so check out Chase's Guitar Academy. I've got a lot of awesome content and a lot of content on Wes, learning his vocab, exclusive lessons on Wes Montgomery, and I hope to see you there.